Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. All right, guys, welcome in. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast. If you're listening after the fact or watching us on YouTube, we meet here every Tuesday and discuss your estate and probate business. So if you are an agent, an investor, an attorney, someone that is growing your business in the estate and probate space, to include life transitions. Sometimes it's people that are setting up an estate or setting up a trust or downsizing or moving to assisted living. We talk about providing value to those families and ultimately benefiting and growing our businesses, typically in the real estate space, by offering a service to families that need it in this space. So it's an open call for those that have never been here before. We encourage your questions. If you've been here before, you guys know the drill. Questions, comments, success stories, different things like that. We're here for you. If you want to participate today, I'm going to have you guys go down to the bottom of your screen and click on the reactions button. If you click reactions, there should be a little bar that says raise your hand. You can raise your hand and ask your questions. Show of hands, and don't raise your hand. If you do raise your hand, you have to take it back down. So if you raise your hand and don't take it back down, I'll call on you. So you guys can show me your hands. How many of you are kind of new in the probate space, maybe the estate space? You've never done this kind of business niche before. All right, got a couple of new people here. Those of you that are new, welcome. Experienced, we welcome you guys as well. I'm going to put a call out. Joy, are you saying you're new? I know you're not that new. Are you saying, or do you have a question? Let's see.
I'm very new, never done probate. I just come here, but I'm new.
I've seen you for a few weeks, so you might be new, but you're not quite as new as a few of the faces on here. So I do want to put a call out to anyone who's had a win, however small. Big win, you got a listing, you signed a contract, you had a closing, you got a referral, something like that. Small wins. Hey, I made my first call and it was nerve-wracking, but I made the call. Those are good wins as well. So I am gonna wait on a few of you guys to pop your hand up and ask your questions or share your success stories and your wins or your challenges. We want to hear those as well. While I'm waiting on that, and Joy, do you have anything else? Just your hands up. I'll take it back down if you don't, but if you do, go ahead and chime in.
What kind of wins are you looking for? Only probate or any cold call type of win?
Anything that either your service offerings have helped generate, probate, estate, referrals from attorneys. It doesn't always have to be about a specific probate business, but if it's related to this, if you got it because of something that you learned through our coaching or our Probate Mastery course, I want to hear about it. All right. So while you're thinking, Joy, let me go to Stephen Hughes. How are you doing? Long time no talk.
I'm good. I'm sitting at a senior expo booth, and just pretty slow at the moment. I guess the win for me, and I think this is part of the Probate Mastery course, there's two things. One, I just hired a virtual assistant finally in my business. I really needed it. There's just too many administrative tasks for transactions and such. But I've kind of rebranded to where we have what's called Utah Non-Legal Probate Services. And essentially we're listing, of course, we'll do stuff at the house, but all these other services, which I either I do own the estate sale company. So the estate sale company does some of it or we outsource it. And it's been very interesting. What I've noticed as I've done a lot of the senior stuff, there's just much more opportunity on the probate or trust side when there is a death, as opposed to just your regular senior downsizing or transitioning into assisted living. There's a big, it's like the popular trend online now to get into that type of senior transition housing because of the aging population, where they're going to downsize or move into assisted living or memory care. But what I continue to find is they just don't make that decision. A majority of people, I think it's like 87% of baby boomers said that they want to pass away in their home.
Yeah.
So there's just more opportunity after death. So we're just leaning more and more into that.
Absolutely. I find that as well. It's very interesting if you build your service around the probate space, the senior space will come find you when they
Yeah.
need you. When you build around the senior space, the probate sellers don't necessarily come find you when they need you. Okay,
Yep.
so I think that probate is such a great, and estates is such a great area to build your business, and then it will easily transition and transfer over to the downsizers and the seniors and the other transition spaces. So it's so true what you just said.
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome, Stephen. Thanks so much, and good job going to the expo. I encourage everyone to do expos and put yourself out there in the community, start being known as someone that provides services like this. Thanks, Stephen. Yaremi, is it Yaremi? Yaremi? How do you pronounce your name?
Hi everyone, Yaremi. That's how it's called.
Yaremi. Yaremi.
Yaremi. Yes.
Yaremi. Okay. All right. Good to meet you.
So nice to meet you all, guy. I've been following these sessions the last couple of weeks. I'm fairly new to the probate world. I joined force with another realtor here in the area. By the way, I'm in Naples, Florida. And so I have my biggest concern or my biggest questions right now is this one. Where do you find information to share in your social media?
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing, and I'm really curious to hear about this from others that are doing social media advertisement, but I look at social media and warm follow-up marketing. So letters and emails, those three things all kind of cluster together with your content. So I think that what you share, go ahead.
I wanted to tell you, I'm working with all the leads, and actually a couple of hours ago, I received our website proof. So we are working, all the letters are ready to go out. We just want to make sure we have the website up and running. And so before sending the letters, but I want to like put all together in order to be able to send people to the website, but to my social media. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, so across all social medias. But I'm wondering where do I get that information? Keeping also in mind, it's a very delicate process. So you want to put out there information that it is really that people can trust.
Yep. So you have to think about who your audience is in social media. So your audience in social media is generally going to be people that you know. So people that oftentimes are not in the middle of probate. So are you a realtor or are you an investor?
I'm a real estate broker. I've been doing real estate for the last 10 years.
Okay.
I'm a broker associate also with a company, a local company.
I find that in the probate and the estate business, there's no better way to create conversations with your sphere of influence and get those referral and repeat clients than by talking about a niche that no one else is talking about. Because if they know realtors, who else are they seeing? And what else are they seeing? They're seeing, hey, I've got a new buyer, I've got a new seller, a new listing coming on. Look at my broker's listing. I'm doing an open house. They're seeing content like this on social media, and it just gets it's what I call slippery marketing. And slippery marketing, or it's in one ear or in one eyeball and out the other ear. It just doesn't stick because everyone's doing the same thing. So when it comes to social media, I would talk about setting up trusts, setting up an estate plan, preparing yourself so that you don't have to go through probate. Now, over time, you're going to end up getting an audience that you pick up through probate. They might find you through probate. But for the most part, you're going to spend time educating and talking about some of the challenges of probate so that you can help your current client base and sphere of influence avoid probate altogether. So when it comes to social media, I wouldn't spend a lot of time talking to people that are in probate because they're really not going to find you easily. They don't know you. Now, you're sending people to your website. You could send people to your social media. I think it's better to send that audience to your website, though. So social media, talk about avoiding probate, talk about how probate is a niche that you serve, but spend most of your energy talking about avoiding it and not how to get through the probate process, because your audience is not normally in the probate process on social media. They're not in the probate process. Now, when it comes to email marketing, once you've had a conversation with a lead that's going through probate, now that email marketing, that's where your content needs to talk about getting through probate.
Makes
You need to
sense.
offer things like a probate checklist, a vendor flyer, common mistakes, best attorneys, things like this. So from a social media standpoint, you're talking to your sphere of influence and they're not in probate, but you want them to recognize that you are a specialist. And when it comes to your additional marketing, where you're going to the consumer, they're the ones that you're going to talk about getting through the probate process and common mistakes, best practices, timelines, checklists, vendor spotlights, different people like this. And we actually have Coach Bill here with his hand raised. I'm going to bring Bill up because I bet he has some insight on this.
I'm scared to try to pronounce her name because I'm sure I'll botch it.
It's simple. Yaremi.
Yaremi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I grew up in a high school that's half Spanish speaking, but I'm still gringo at heart, so forgive me for that. It turns out on this topic, I have a podcast. I do Probate Weekly, and my Thursday episode is on creating a YouTube channel, but I offer there, I think, a specific answer for sources of content you might want to check out. What I recommend is agents, as you look to make your social media, I schedule it weekly, an hour, and I do some research through different resources. 3 resources I'd recommend for you to consider for topics on both avoiding probate, estate planning, and probate would be number 1, Executorium, Executorium, Executorium. And I would recommend everybody here to sign up for that in your county. It's a great way to add value to your vendors. All of you on this call are looking for ways to find more vendors and create value for them. And that is a resource that does both of those. But on their website, they have content that you can easily read. And what I tell people is just read what you find interesting to answer your question. You might look at 4 or 5 articles, find one that you like, summarize that, and that becomes your social media piece. The second one I would recommend is trustandwills.com. They're the leader in online estate planning services. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get money from them. I've interviewed them on my YouTube channel, but they also on their resources have great content on both estate planning and what happens if you don't. And so I recommend them as a resource. And the third is kind of obscure, Jet Surety, JETSURETY.com. They're a probate bond vendor. But on their website, they have, you go by state and then county, and they have great resources there on both, again, probate and avoiding probate through estate planning. So those are 3 resources. And I go into a little detail on those 3 on my Probate Weekly podcast.
Could you please type in the message in the chat box the
Sure.
last one because I didn't get it?
Sure. Be glad to.
Guys, I really like what Bill just said. Listen, you've got to remember that your sphere of influence audience that follows you on social, they're tired of seeing the same old from real estate agents and investors. Don't forget my new listing. Call me if you need to buy or sell a house. That just gets lost on them. Talking about specialties is how you gain an audience. And I'll never forget a person in my sphere of influence that I've done many deals with. And this particular year where I had this experience, I'd done at least 5 or 6 deals with or through or from this connection that I had. So I think we'd done 2 personal deals and he'd referred me 3 different clients. And great relationship. And I called him one day and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I put my real estate hat on?" And this isn't a perfect example of social media post, but it's an example of how when you use a specialty to talk to your sphere of influence, it helps get you business. So I said, "Can I put my real estate hat on?" He said, "Yes." I said, I don't know if you know this, but one of the specialties that I have is in the probate and the estate space. And I help families with property clean out, yard maintenance, real estate sales, refinancing, pretty much anything that they might go through while they're in the probate process or settling an estate. And I said, "I need a good contractor." And I don't remember what I asked him for, but I basically turned it into an ask for help. And instead of saying, "I need a referral for a client," I said, "I need a good contractor," or "I need a good financial advisor," or something like that. And he said, "Bruce, I wish you'd told me that you did this a month or 2 ago. We just put my mom's house on the market and sold it like a month ago." And my thinking at the time was, his mom's house must not have been local. Why? Because during that time, I was doing business with him and I was getting referrals from him. There wasn't a fallout that we had that caused him to not bring his mom's house to me. He just didn't think of me because it was a specialty. It was a specialty deal. So he didn't know that I did this. Had I had this conversation with him or done a social media post that he'd seen talking about this, I would have gotten that business as well. So I encourage everyone to talk about your niche. Even if you do other things, talk about the niche. Kind of an apples to oranges example is I coach real estate professionals. Is all my coaching going to be probate? No. It's a lot of real estate business, but when I am offering coaching services to the masses of real estate agents or investors, I'm competing with Tom Ferry and Mike Ferry and all the investor coaches and Brian Buffini and all these people with huge names that are all generalist coaches. So I build an audience with a niche and then teach them, coach them on what they need. You guys are doing the exact same thing. You build your audience and your brand around a niche, and then you take them into your additional real estate offerings.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, Remy, thank you. I hope I got it close to accurate. Right. Let's bring Bernie up. Bernie.
Yeah, I
Good to
wanted
see you.
to just reiterate what Bill Gross said and what you just said. I'm pretty new to this. And when I started with all the leads and got the website, I felt like there's a blog feature that I wasn't using. So first I paid them to help seed it. But then I realized, like what Bill said about will and trust, it was a resource. I would take an article they wrote that talks about bringing business to them, and I'd take that and I'd send it to AI and say, have this be an article for me to post on my blog that doesn't talk about going to them per se, but just bringing. So I've been able to add lots of topics. I got 5 different categories on there, and I've built it up. And then I can take each of those and post those on Facebook. So I've got a lot of sort of material. I'm going to move to video now, but before I move to video, I really wanted to nail down that the site, which is called a credibility site about probate, I felt it had to have a lot of learning on it, and I feel I sort of finished that. And now it's easy for me to add an article a week because I listen to Bill's podcast and he has a guest on. I look up their website and then I pull information from there. Like I say, AI is a really big help. The Chat GPT writes it. So, and then if I don't like it, I can ask them to change this or whatever. And then I just post it and I pick up a picture from their website or some website. And so Bill and you and Will and Trust, I found also the Jet Surety and the Executorium. all places to get material for your website for a blog. And just being in that habit is now really easy for me.
Um, Blogging today is very heavily about being credible when people find you. That's number one. Number two, the number two reason you guys should be writing blogs, and I should do a whole coaching on this. Number two reason you guys should be writing blogs or creating content is because of the SEO value, if done correctly. So, Bernie, you've got these blogs that you've put up, and if they're tagged properly and they have the right keywords, people will start finding you above all your competitors. Okay. The goal when you create content, especially if it's going on your WordPress-based website or another based website and you're putting blogs on there, is to get it ranking above the attorneys. That's when you know you've really arrived. Because normally if you say, hey, how do I get through the probate process in my city? It's usually a load of attorney web pages and blogs that show up first. So I think a goal is to rank higher than them. Go ahead, Bernie.
And now I've asked them to put on, they haven't done yet, a subscribe button on that. And then I'm going to generate newsletters each month that pull out some articles that I've now posted on the blog. So it's the source material now for other ways of reaching out, like you're saying. And
Yep.
I appreciate learning from you the SEO value. I thought of myself, but I have to keep that in mind in terms of how people search. They're not searching for a probate real estate attorney. That they're asking about, do I need to hire an attorney to write a will or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I will make a minor adjustment to what you just said. I think that they are searching for a probate attorney or an estate attorney. I think they are looking for that, but it's more the how to open probate, how to find an attorney. It's very rarely how to find a realtor. Very rarely. Okay. So the idea, and I think we mentioned this on a coaching call a few days ago, Bernie, is you find out the path that your consumer is on when they file probate, and you put yourself in that path. If they are on a path to hiring an attorney, you put yourself on that path where they find you when they look for an attorney. If they are on a path to figure out how to go to the courthouse, how to park at the courthouse, you put yourself on that path. That's a silly example, but you look for the path that they're on and you put yourself there by educating and teaching them through your content. Good job, Bernie. I'm proud of seeing the things that you're doing and the improvements you're making and the content you're posting. I appreciate it.
May I post in the chat my website blog page so that people, if they're interested, can go there?
Please.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bernie. Okay, what's the last three sites that Bill listed? I think they're in chat. Bill, did you put those in chat? I think so.
Yes, I did. I'll just copy and paste it. Do it again. Just if you come in, let you miss it.
All right.
And then feel free to go to my podcast on Thursday. Shameless plug. My podcast on Thursday.
Perfect. Yeah, we need that shameless plug. What is the podcast? Say it for those that are listening and can't look at chat.
Probateweekly.com.
Probateweekly.com. Perfect.
And this week is specific about YouTube channels, but then the content is the same question, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok, where do you get the content sources? And those are the three that I recommend.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. And feel free to keep chiming in. Guys, if you're new here, Bill ran this call for a while, and I selfishly asked to step in and take it over. Bill is going to continue to be on here. Anytime he comes on, I'm usually going to pin him and be calling on him very frequently. So just in case anyone needs to know who Bill is, runs a great business in the LA market. He's someone that I recommend that everybody follow if you're looking for probate content, even if you want to emulate it. Mike Leo, how's it going?
Hi, Bruce. It's going well. Thanks for taking my question. I am trying to expand my referral business with attorneys, and I've connected with a few, and they've been very valuable for referring me some of their clients that are going through probate. but for the most part, it seems really difficult to get through and contact most attorneys. So what I'm looking for is maybe a very effective letter format and or protocol of letters. Right now, I'm just sending them a simple letter and a couple of brochures. And like I said, very little response for the most part. So have you seen one or a letter that seems to work a little bit better?
I'm going to ask Bill to also chime in on this because Bill does a lot of probate business with attorneys. Personally, I don't like cold. This is personal. So if there's probably some people here who have gotten business by cold mailing attorneys. I have not. Um, Anytime I'm not getting the response I want, whether that be a response from a personal representative, a response from an attorney, a response from a neighbor, okay, whatever it is, if I'm not getting a response, I always ask myself if I'm using the right bait. So I would imagine that most attorneys who are just kind of blowing you off or not calling you back, it's most likely because they think that they know what you're calling for. And maybe that's because you've told them what you're calling for. Maybe it's just that they've kind of drawn a conclusion inappropriately, what you're there for. And they just think that you're there to beg for their referrals. Hey, I have clients, you're here to ask for them. So make it very clear, either whether you're doing mail or a call ahead of time or a pop by, make it very clear that you're there with something that they want. So what are the things that they want? I think first thing they want is business. I think that's the first thing. Now, I'm not proposing that you say, hey, if you have a meeting with me, I'll bring you a whole bunch of clients. I'm not proposing that. But I would definitely lean toward letting them know that I'm in this space and I'm finding that I think the wording is very important. I'm finding that a lot of my clients are either setting up estates or going through the probate process, and I think that that's a good truth that most of us can say or should be able to say. I'm finding that a lot of people that I know and a lot of my clients are either going through the probate process or in need of setting up an estate plan or a trust. Okay, that's even better. In need of setting an estate plan or trust. I was wondering if that's the type of work that you do. Now, we probably already know that that's the type of work that they do, but I still like to ask. I was wondering if that's the type of work that you do, and if so, are you taking new clients? If the answer is yes, listen, I'd love to stop by the office and see your practice for 10 or 15 minutes sometime in the next week and see if we're a good fit to potentially work together. Unless you're dealing with an irrational or busier than life attorney, they're going to agree to that. Now, they might be busier than life and say no, in which case I don't judge them. They might be irrational and say no, in which case I'd knock the dust off of my shoes and move on. But most are going to say yes to that. Now, if you're going to do mail, I would suggest following the same general type of message on that. Bill, do you do direct mail outreach to attorneys?
So I agree with what you said 100%. In fact, if I gave the answer, I would have started with exactly what you just said. Now, to answer your question, the only mailing I ever do is to somebody who I would already call in my sphere. I've met them in person. So I've accumulated attorneys I've done business with or met in court or met at mixers or whatever. And I do a very simple postcard once every 90 days to that group of about 300. I would never send anything cold. I think it's a bad in general first impression. Now that I'm in Metro LA, which is a very competitive market, my answer might be different if I was in a semi-rural or rural market where there's attorneys who don't know realtors or need one, and they're glad to get your mail. But in LA, nobody's glad to get mail from me. And if I could just ask a question, I forget who asked the question initially on the direct mail. He said he sent out a lot and got a low return. Can I just ask how many pieces you sent out and how many your return was?
Yeah, Mike.
I probably do a week to attorneys that I see have cases, in the court records.
Mhm.
And gosh, the return rate is low, but it has worked. But I
Well,
have
hold
had,
on.
okay.
Can I jump in here, Bruce, and coach a little bit? So
Yep.
rather than judge the numbers, the answer is a number. So once I hear somebody with emotion rather than the number, I know they're not being business-like, they're being personal. And the answer is a number, because I think what you'd be shocked is on direct mail, if you got a 3% return, it would be fantastic. If you got 6%, it'd be historic. And so 2 a week for a year would be 100. I mean, if you got 2, that's about what I would expect. If you got 3, you did great. So when you say you got low, was it 1 or 2 or 3? And out of that number, my guess is you really got a good return rate. Mailing postcards, people you know already as a follow-up really isn't direct mail. That's more follow-up of your personal contacts. So maybe the question was a little off, but I would say for direct mail, you really have to track your numbers. Otherwise, you're going to spend money and not get a return for it. Anyhow,
Yep.
that's my 2 bits.
Yeah, if I completely agree with that. If you've gotten a 3% return on those mailers to attorneys, you've done really well, really well. I think that the bottom line is cold mailing an attorney is not going to have near the result as giving them a call or meeting them at a mixer or a networking or at court is going to have. Not anywhere close. So am I suggesting not to do cold mail? No, I'm not suggesting that. And I agree with Bill. Some rural markets, it works a little bit better. Slightly more rural. It doesn't work in my market. I'm in the Triangle of North Carolina. Bill's in LA. I don't think that cold mail to attorneys works in our markets. And if it is going to work, it needs to be highly, you need to have a very strong call to action, and you need to put bait into the water that they actually want. If they think that you're there asking for referrals, there's no way that they're gonna call you, even if you're referencing a specific probate case. No way. Now, as soon as I say that, I'm going to have 2 or 3 hands that pop up and people are going to say, I've sent cold mail and it's worked. Yes, I think that those of you that have had success are either in the right market for that, or you just hit your percentage, and you might have done that on your first letter that you sent out. I know several people that sent 1 letter, got 1 attorney referral, and that's great. But I don't think that that's the way to build consistency in your business.
Right. I thank you so much. I do appreciate those. And I am in a smaller, kind of Mountain West, market. We only, our population is maybe 120,000. And so it's really a pretty small handful of, probate attorneys here. So,
Okay.
but
good. Okay. So I'll modify my stance on your cold mail. However, it's still going to be a higher return to make that call. It's funny because what I used to do is I used to mail attorneys, cold mail attorneys.
oh,
And then I used to call attorneys and I'd say, hey, I'm in this space. I was wondering if we'd work together. And immediately they would think, I'm assuming that they would think this. None of them actually told me that they thought this, but I'm assuming that they'd think, hey, this guy's a real estate agent. He just wants my referrals. Because they wouldn't call back. I might get 1 out of 50 that would respond to me. Yet every time I had a referral, a legitimate referral, I have a client that needs an attorney like this, and your name was recommended to me. Every single time I got a call back, every single time. And so I just started including similar language in my phone conversation. So I'm not here to ask for referrals. I'm finding that a lot of my client base needs a trust or an estate plan, and some of them are actually going through probate as well and don't have attorneys. So I'm not promising I'm going to bring you everyone. It's just my client base needs a trust or an estate plan, and some of them are going through probate and need an attorney. That's 1000% true of every single one of us. You're going to get a call back from that attorney unless they're just too busy. Does that help, Mike? Any other follow-up questions?
No, yeah, that was very helpful. Thanks a lot.
Good. Thanks, Mike. Any other questions? What else do you guys have?
I'd like to share if that's okay.
Sure. Who am I talking to? I can't see.
This is Jocelyn.
Jocelyn. Yes, go for it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share what worked for me, or what is working, or in the process of working possibly, is I'm a member of like multiple chambers of commerces, and there's a lot of mixers and networking events, and I'm very consistent in going. I literally am in networking events 3 times a week. I do ribbon cuttings, and I support people when, when they have workshops and stuff like that. There's a couple of attorneys that are estate planning probate attorneys, and it's customary within the chambers that we meet one-on-one outside of a chamber function in order to further the connection. And I wanted to share that I had a very successful meeting with an attorney, and it was kind of like, hey, let's meet at Starbucks. We met at Starbucks, and we actually left the meeting where she was like, what can I do to help you in your business? And I'm like, yes, and what can I do to help you? And so we actually drafted kind of like a letter that we would send to our clients, endorsing each other. And so it's kind of like, I know that putting properties in a trust is actually good advice. And so I wanted to make sure to word it in such a way where I'm not pushing her services, but I'm suggesting that, hey, this is something that you need to look into. And at the same time, she's also drafting a letter to refer me. And it was kind of like, I sent her the letter. I'm like, hey, how does it sound? So it kind of is like, I feel like if the attorneys, if we meet them at an event where it's not a salesy thing, really, because you're not cold calling, you're not sending emails. And it works for me, or actually it's worked for this one. And I think I met with 2 more, and it was very well received as well. But it's within a chamber environment. So it's totally different than meeting them through cold calling. And so that's just what's worked for me. And I work Orange County, and Orange County is like, you have snooty people there. But it seems to work. If you meet them at a networking event where, there's drinks and food, and the whole purpose of you being there is to meet people.
I think the drinks are the key, right?
Yeah. But it's like I said, like I haven't gotten any referrals yet, but the conversation and the planning and how the meetings go seem to be very well. Like literally they will say, what can I do to support you? So
goal number 1 is make a connection. Goal number 2 is be remembered.
Yeah.
I think goal number 3 is get them addicted to referring you. And the only way to do that is to be remembered consistently and to show up when they do business.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that. Hopefully that helps someone.
Thank you so much. Let me see where this echo is coming from, guys. I've got anybody else hear an echo from me? Nope. Okay. All right. So along those lines, we've got cold mail to attorneys. We have cold calls to attorneys. Anytime that there's an introduction or an organic connection through an event like that, that relationship is always going to go, not always, it has a much higher likelihood of getting supercharged really, really fast. What I found with several attorneys that I was trying to get a hold of that I was not having good success is if I could find someone that they knew and trusted to introduce me, I would get a lot further on in that relationship a lot faster. So I remember one attorney that I had, I was working with this client that I knew was using an attorney, and we met, but the relationship just didn't really go anywhere. I tried them, and it wasn't getting anywhere, and it wasn't getting anywhere really fast. And in the meantime, I've built a relationship with a separate attorney, and we go to lunch one day, and I said, hey, what can I do for you? And that attorney said, well, the only thing I really need is for you to take care of my clients. I'll send you referrals. I don't need anything in return. I want you to take care of my clients. And I was like, come on, I'm sure there's something that I can do for you. Can I introduce you to anyone? Can I refer you? And he said, if you're going to introduce me to anyone, introduce me to financial planners. And I said, why? And he said, oh, financial planners are by far the single place that we get most of our business in the probate and the estate place. Why? Space. Why? Because a good financial advisor, financial planner is normally going to be sending their clients to set up trusts and estate plans with an attorney. And he said, so I want financial advisor clients and referral partners. That's who I want. They come, I pursue them like you, the real estate agent, pursue a relationship with me. So I went to my financial advisor friends and I started saying, hey, I'm in the probate and the estate space. I was wondering if you know any attorneys that I need to know. And then the very first one that I asked this of, he said, yeah, you need to meet David. And I said, I've been trying to get David for like a year and he's blowing me off. I can't get him. And he said, I'll fix that right now. And he made a call. And David answers the phone. Of course, how many times have I called David without a response? David answers the phone. Why? Because his financial advisor called him, who he gets referrals from. And he said, hey, you need to know Bruce. And David said, I've been super busy. I've been meaning to call that guy. We got on the phone, we set an appointment for that next week, and I have a great relationship with the attorney now. So anytime you can either meet people organically or you can be introduced to a to an attorney, it's always going to be just supercharged, the speed of that relationship. Okay, guys, other questions. We got about 15 minutes before the call wraps up today. I want to see what else you guys have. So, Bill, it's been a little while. How's business for you? You learning anything, doing anything fun?
You know, I started this path 5.5 years ago, and it has taken on a momentum of its own where business comes in and I get, leads and referrals regularly. And I think the one thing I would urge everybody on this call to pay attention to, I listen to questions, is make sure that we're building a business. We're not, learning how to do our job better, right? You can do mail that is going to create a system and a process that goes without you, or you can do mail in a way that requires you to be involved in it. And so for me, I really focused my energies on my YouTube channel. I saw what Bernie did. To go back to the topic of content, phenomenal job where he took content, created this phenomenal resource. I clicked it. I'm going to refer people to look at it as an example. Now I would turn around on Bernie and say, hey, Bernie, you need to take each of these and just do a short video summarizing what you like about that article. And you should put that video on the top of your piece so people who prefer video will see it there, and they'll support your video efforts as well. But what a phenomenal job. I like to see that our industry is growing in terms of professionalism. I want to be part of it. I'm going to challenge everybody up their standards. And like I said, in particular, I just want to give a shout out to Bernie. I thought that was a phenomenal job. Everyone in this call should be doing something similar, and then take those pieces and email them to your clients and take those pieces and video them. And that's the basis of your YouTube or your TikTok or whatever video source you use.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. People will many times look at a YouTube video. And by the way, guess who owns YouTube? We should all know this. It's Google. So what are they going to push harder than anything else? It's going to be something with YouTube links in it, or YouTube embeds, or links to other things that you can find on Google. They're gonna push that stuff really hard. And we're not here to talk about the SEO algorithms or anything like that. That's another topic that I probably need a specialist, not me, to talk about. But I do know that when you can put YouTube content into your blog content, it's really gonna be findable. So my big thing is, going back to the beginning of the call, find out, because a lot of people are saying, and we had the very first question, what do I put out there? A lot of people are asking, what do I put out there? Either in social media, email, YouTube, websites, blogs, different things like that. Find out what your audience is looking for. And if it's not you, and I can promise most of you, it's not you that they're looking for, find out what they're looking for and go stand in the path and be the person that gives them that resource first. If they're looking for how to, be the how-to expert. If they're looking for an estate sale company, be the first person that they find that's promoting and encouraging them to use a certain estate sale company or estate sale companies. If they're looking for an attorney, make sure that it's your face side by side with the attorney. Right now, I have Bill's image pinned here on Zoom just for YouTube purposes, so that we can, so that I'm not always looking for who's talking. So you pin the attorney next to you on a Zoom recording, you pin the estate sale company next to you on a Zoom interview that you're doing with them, and you promote that content, because that's who people are looking for. Your audience are looking for those services. They're looking for that guidance. And if you're out there going, hey, all I want's to buy a house, they're not going to find you. You're going to be reliant on making a cold call for the rest of your life if you're not putting yourself in the path, on the way to what they are looking for. There's dozens of investors that will buy their inherited house. There's many dozens of real estate agents that will list their inherited house, and that's on the low end. But there's not that many other professionals that help them through the probate process. So be the person that, I'm not saying that you're the only gatekeeper, but if you can gatekeep some of that information, you'll build a relationship. Okay. Other questions? Let me see some hands, guys. I know that there's more here, and you're not all here to hear me blather on and on. Who else has had some wins for the week? Anybody picked that really heavy phone up for the week, or made an attorney connection that you were a little bit scared of going after?
I have a couple of wins, actually.
Great.
Yeah, I want to share those. It's actually pretty cool. Out of what's been going on here in the Tampa Bay area, we got hit by 2 hurricanes back to back. And I was actually on vacation for a couple of weeks, came back, prepped for a week, and then now we're in recovery mode. So through that, people know me as doing distressed property solutions provider, and I've gotten quite a few calls for homes that have been flooded out. So I just want to kind of let people know that, whatever's going on in your community, you can somewhat capitalize on that if you work, efficiently, succinctly, and let people know that you're there to help them with whatever situation they have going on. So I've got one home under contract. It was a flooded out home. And I just got another call while we're sitting here on the phone, or on our call here just now, that I'll be calling on. And, if you can be that solution provider, you're going to get a lot of business. And it's not just about, doing probate deals. Obviously, that's our first line of business, but I'm getting these calls because people know that I'll look at the distressed homes. And that for us translates to probate deals that are really, really outdated. They're distressed, they're falling down, they're on a canal, they flooded. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can make your business work. And I just wanted to share that because I got 2 referrals this week that I didn't have to pay for. One of them's under contract, and it's going to be a good one. So
amazing.
Yeah, really excited. And then we got one that was going into foreclosure, and it's pretty much ready to go to market. So I'll be listing that one pretty soon as well. So that's my wins through all the nonsense that we've been going through here for a couple of weeks. There's a couple of good wins, and we helped a couple of families that were in dire need, and that's the takeaway. They hugged us. So
that's what it's all about. It's about the family that either says to you or thinks, hopefully they say it if they're thinking it, that they couldn't have made it through without you, and they don't know what they would have done without you. That's more satisfying than the commission check or the revenue check that we get after flipping a house.
It really is. And one of those referrals, I will say, came from a financial advisor that has asked me to be on her panel to go and do community work. And she trusted me with that. And she also has an agent on that panel who's an SRES who's been working with her for many years. And she basically flipped that over to me because she knew that we could handle that. So I'm really excited, and she's really huge in the community. So work it, guys. Just work it. So
I think it goes back to the concept of niching. We all want, most of us here want regular real estate business. I love non-complicated business that's just a referral from a past client or someone in my sphere, and they've got to sell and they want to price it appropriately, and there's only one decision maker or two decision makers that are on the same page. That's easy business. But when you're going after that business, you're competing with the thousands of others. Niche, build your audience through a niche. And once you've built that audience and you've gotten awareness and you've become memorable and credible, just like Melanie has, now you can move it over to the regular old traditional easy real estate business. Okay. But learn how to niche, just like Melanie has. And I really appreciate that that you've done it. You've been one of my favorite people to watch grow this segment of your business. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been something. Kind of felt like I had to take a little step back, but we're moving forward now. I'm really, really tired. I will be honest with you. I'm really tired from what we're going through here, but we're still making it happen. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Okay.
And I got Bill too. I got Bill Gross over here. So mentoring.
I love it. Awesome. Melanie, thanks so much. Hey, Joy, go ahead and unmute yourself. What do you have today?
Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone. And thank you, God, why do I forget your name? Bruce, for calling me. So what's a win? My win is just even being here. I think I've been here 2 weeks in a row. Being able to show up and listen to you guys. I wanted to look into probate, but I knew I didn't want to start some new thing and not be consistent and not do it. So my goal is to come here, listen until I develop the excitement and the belief that this is something to chase. However, I want to see a win. What I'm getting from this is how you keep saying cold call, people have conversations. And so since this week, I've been cold calling regularly. But this morning, I called someone who actually wants to buy property. So I have a niche, but it's not probate. He wants to buy that type of property. And I already spoke to someone who wants to sell. So I just feel excited that just by cold calling, I'm seeing results, because I told myself, see, this thing is not called reluctance. It's just fear. You're afraid of other human beings. And why should you be? These are human beings. I'm not afraid of anyone in real life. But I used to be so afraid to get on the phone. I'm like, these are just human beings. So yes, I have a goal to call at least 500 numbers daily. I hope I can do that, but at least talk to 20 people. And I know one of the reasons I'm on this call is I hear you guys all the time say, call, no sending mails, don't do cold mails, call, conversations, learn to have conversations.
So I'm going to jump in. 500, very ambitious. I applaud you. I love it. That's a lot of calls. Are you using a power dialer?
Yes, I use Vulcan 7. Not really power dialer because it's single dialer, but that's what I use.
That's a power dialer. Yeah. Yep. Good number of calls. That's still pretty ambitious. 500 calls on a single line dialer. Go for it. Let me know how that goes. That's not to discourage you. I think that most single line dialers are going to hit 60 to 70 calls an hour. I'm going to encourage most folks here to recognize what you're going to get with a cold call. Okay, so you're cold calling. You've got people that should be highly motivated, but they don't know you. Many times, especially in probate, and Joy, you weren't calling probate. That's fine. Many times in probate, they don't know, like, or trust you yet. They might be getting other calls. They answer the phone and they suddenly realize that they're on a sales call and their walls start to go up. So I'm going to encourage everyone here, don't let those walls be a discouragement to you. Learn how to deal with the wall. And I'm not saying learn how to break the wall down. Their wall is their wall. That's a boundary. Learn how to identify where that boundary is and then play within their rules. One of the things that I like to do is go ahead and give a person the ability to set a boundary. Should I assume that you have everything handled at this point, or is there anything I can do? Oh, we have it handled. There's their boundary. Now I know kind of where I can carry on the rest of that call. If you guys have not taken Probate Mastery, there's a lot more on the prospecting side of it inside of the Probate Mastery course. So I'm going to encourage you guys to do that. Joy, if you haven't followed Ricky Caruth on YouTube and his cold calling approach, specifically with circle prospecting, highly encourage watching some of Ricky Caruth's circle prospecting cold calls.
Yeah, I just settled. I listen to a lot of coaches, but I just settled for Ricky Caruth this weekend, and I listen to him almost every day because his approach is so, I don't know, it's not pushy, it's not aggressive, and yet he gets things done. So I really like his approach.
Ricky's all about building a long-term list, identifying who would consider him if they ever did sell, and putting them into an email campaign. And if you guys don't have an email campaign, please go build some email campaigns. I know that can be pretty oppressive for some people. It can be pretty intimidating. Like, you mean I have to go write 597 emails that are going to go out over the next 7 years? And the answer is no. You need to write 4. And then in a couple of weeks, you need to write 4 more. And in a few weeks, you write 4 more. And next thing you know, you have a campaign. I think everyone should have a campaign, and your campaign should go for a while. It should last for a while. But if something is intimidating to you, break it into phases and just knock out one phase at a time. And at least start with at least 4. You have a conversation with someone, be it in probate or somewhere else, and then move them into a small, short email campaign, and then add a little bit to it later and a little bit more to it later. Thank you, Joy. So those that are asking, who is Ricky? Ricky Caruth, Caruth. Ricky, if you ever watch this, I plugged you. You need to give me a call and have a conversation with me. All right. So Ricky Caruth, he's someone that I really like the prospecting approach that he uses, specifically with circle prospecting. I do find that when you're doing probate calls, you need to be a little bit different from the circle prospecting approach he uses, but there's still things that you can glean from every single influencer, coach, agent, investor out there. Guys, I really appreciate everybody being here. We are up against the top of the hour. I don't see any other hands up. I'm going to let everybody go 2 minutes early. Enjoy your early afternoon. Thanks so much for being here. If you guys have not taken Probate Mastery and you're interested in getting certified in the probate space, I encourage you to jump over to probatemastery.com and sign up for that. Bill is part of the mastery program, quasi part of the mastery program. Bill ran this call for a long time, and I want Bill, we got to talk, and you chase me down, pin me down, and been through mastery. He has Bill, go ahead and unmute yourself and give us your YouTube channel and podcast name again. He does a lot of stuff independently from Probate Mastery as well.
Sure. Well, I'm a graduate of the program. I've paid for it and taken it 3 or 4 times, and I'm really just more of I just think we need to work together. So my only interest in this is not as an employee or being paid. It's just really, I get referrals. I've helped people, and I also enjoy helping people build their business. But at Bill Gross Probate is my YouTube channel, at Bill Gross Probate, on all social media. And then you also can see everything I do at billgrossprobate.com, billgrossprobate.com. And that's my LinkedIn. And my Linktree, and has all the links to different things I have going on. Thanks, Bruce.
Those are in chat. Queenie's putting those in chat right now.
Thanks.
Guys, thank you all so much. We'll see you same time next week. That's 2 o'clock Eastern time, 11 o'clock Pacific time every Tuesday. If you are seeing this on YouTube and you want to be able to join live, go over to probatemastery.com top of the page, sign up for our free weekly coaching calls. We've got a bunch of freebies over there as well, in addition to the Probate Mastery certification course and other courses and coaching. So if you guys are interested, check out probatemastery.com. Thank you guys for being here. And it is now not early anymore. We took up the whole hour. So thank you guys. See you next week.